If you want to increase your gaming performance, boost FPS or fix stutters, then my friend, you landed on the right video, because in this video I'm going to tell you tips and tricks that will surely increase your gaming performance. So the first tip for today, and that is buy a new GPU. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like, your old GPU is bad. That's the reason you're not getting enough performance. Buy a new GPU, you'll get a good performance. Is it that complicated? It's simple math, but I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, you don't need to buy a new GPU. GPUs are expensive. In this video, I'm gonna tell you some free tips and suggestions which will surely help you for your gaming performance. First, I'm gonna suggest you few Windows settings to change. First thing you need to change if you are on Windows 10 or 11, and that is to turn on game mode. And when you turn on game mode, you would have two more options, and that is first hardware accelerated GPU scheduling, and second is optimized for windowed games. After turning on optimized for windowed games, you will see that you are getting good enough performance, fixing stutters, and sometimes getting more FPS on the games that are only playable in windowed mode. After changing these Windows settings, I would suggest you go to a website that I have linked down below, and you can see this right here. There you will see a Windows utility tool that you need to run a command on PowerShell, and after running that command, you would be having a new window where you will be seeing a plethora of options. You will be able to download a lot of applications. There's going to be one tab, and that is tweak. You'll be able to find ultimate power option. Now, after turning ultimate power option, your PC will suck on more power, but it will use all that power for good, because when your PC has more power to work with, it can run a little faster. Although it would be running on its rated TDP, it would be not going higher than that if you haven't done a shunt mode or if you haven't overclocked it. Now, on the topic of overclocking, you can also overclock your GPU to get more performance. Now, if you never heard about overclocking, well, here you add on more power or you push your GPU's limits. If you want me to make a video about overclocking, let me know in the comment section. I will make a separate video about overclocking, but overclocking helps you a lot if you have an older GPU. But most current GPU, or if you buy a good AIB partner GPU like overclock GPU, or some GPUs now have a OC BIOS. If you have one of those GPUs, then your GPU might have already overclocked to its limits, so you might not have that much room to work with. But if you own the Silicon Lottery, then you might be able to overclock even those GPUs. After all this, if you're still not satisfied with your gaming performance, then I would suggest you go to the game and look for settings like DLSS or FSR. If you have an older generation GPU, you don't have a RTX GPU, then you would need to pick FSR. Or if you have a RTX GPU, then you would have the DLSS option. Now, these are upscaling technology. Now, in yesteryears, upscaling technologies were bad. Nobody used to like upscaling technology, but nowadays, because of nvidia and AMD's research and development, these upscaling technologies have came a long way, where they are not only usable, but also sometimes can be a little better. Doesn't really affect your visual clarity that much, unless you are playing games on 1480p or 720p, and it gives you more performance. Now, if you have a really new generation GPU like a 40 series GPU, and if the game that you are playing supports frame generation, this is another technology that has been introduced by both nvidia and AMD, where it will detect, analyze, and add frames in between real frames. In few games, the implementation of frame generation is not that good, so there might be some visual artifact. Talking about visuals, this is another area which can help you to get more performance. Sometimes visual clarity difference between ultra and high is not that significant. Play around with the graphics settings. Here are some things that I always turn off while I play games. First is VSync. If you have a VSync monitor or a G-Sync monitor, then you should disable VSync. Second, motion blur. In most games, you don't even notice the motion blur. And if you are one of the persons like me who don't like motion blur, then you should turn off motion blur. Now other settings like anti-aliasing, textures, ray tracing, and other shadow quality, clarity, these kind of things can affect your gaming performance. So turning them a few notches down and help to get you better performance. And lastly, I would suggest you, before opening your game, you should close every single thing that is running on the background. If you are playing alone, you don't have friends, you are not playing multiplayer games, turn off Discord, turn off Chrome, everything that you have running on the background which can take up even 1% of your resource, turn them off, because sometimes a 1% difference can be the difference between non-playable and playable game. And if you haven't already noticed, in this video I haven't suggested you anything like go to registry editor, do this, do that, go to game files, do this, do that, because I'm a firm believer, if you don't know something that you are doing, you shouldn't do it. Even if a big name YouTuber or a very knowledgeable person suggesting, you might watch that particular walkthrough or particular tips and follow this accordingly, but somewhere, somehow you made a silly little mistakes that can happen, which can even ruin your PC. Sometimes changing a little thing with the registry editor can corrupt your Windows system. So why should you do it if you don't know what you are doing? And at the end of the day, guys, games are for entertainment. Even if you are having a choppy experience, you are playing of 24 FPS cinematic quality, sometimes the stories that some games have are far better than the FPS. When I first played Mafia 2, my PC wasn't that good. It was barely running it. I was getting 25 to 28 FPS, but I played through the whole game. Not because the game's gunplay or the gameplay was good, but the story was amazing. It's still one of my favorite stories that I have seen on video games. I still love that game to my dear heart, and I have played that game again when I had a good enough GPU. This is what I'm suggesting. Some games, yes, having good FPS really helps, because when you have the money to buy a better GPU, because I know you will have, because you're gonna save after watching this video, then you will remind yourself, my God, how bad it was and how good it is. Like how good it is that you subscribe to my channel. You haven't? Really? Why? Come on, dude, subscribe to my channel and watch this video right here. And if you, honestly, if you haven't subscribed, please do it by here. And there's Akash, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.